Well, the Forbes 25 list, it just came out and I wasn't on it. So let's talk about the real estate market update for the week of April 3rd. And we got that inventory bump. Woohoo! And it's going to pull back this week because of Easter, then surge next week, so be prepared. In this video, we're going to go over the single family and condo markets in the state of Massachusetts. We're also going to take a look at interest rates, as well as talk about the economic news that actually matters. And for the luxury home of the week, we're headed into Boston to take a look at an incredible penthouse on Beacon Street. So stay tuned. But first, hi, I'm Jeff Chubb. I'm a recovering investment banker turned real estate agent. I've sold more than 1,000 houses. I'm one of the state's top agents. If you have any questions about real estate, then know I'm here to help. It's a new week, but it's the same old story of multiple offer situations. Just heard that we didn't get one of the 20 plus offer situations that one of our buyers bidded on. And if you're a seller and you have a situation where you have an absurd amount of offers on your house, then it isn't exactly a time of celebration. That just means the person that you hired couldn't read the market properly and drastically underpriced your house. This market, it's getting crazy again. I can't stress enough the importance of doing a home buyer consultation as the start of the home buying process. It is so important to go over the market conditions and do an offer strategy as your first step. It will make the process much more enjoyable for you, as well as make you more prepared and more likely to get that house that you love and that you're making an offer on. But now let's jump into the single family market stats. We currently have 3,064 houses on the market. That's right, we broke the 3,000 mark. After 7 weeks of inventory levels below 3,000 units, this is some welcome news to home buyers. That's the good news. The bad news is that it continues. The gap of additional houses on the market today versus last year continues to narrow. And it narrowed a lot this week. There are now only 594 additional units on the market today than the same time last year. Do you think our inventory levels will actually hit the same levels of last year or even go lower than the levels that we saw last year? I'm just curious to hear your thoughts. Throw them in the comment section. So different week, but kind of the same story. We need more inventory. Which, by the way, we got, but it has not been enough to keep up with demand. When we look at the number of under agreements versus new listings from last week, we've got more than 6% more houses under agreement than were listed. This is not the news that buyers want to hear. We had 1,010 houses that came on the market this week. Now, the last time we broke 1,000 new listings was a week back in the middle of October, but we were still 23.5% behind last year's numbers when 1,321 units came on the market. A lot of houses came on the market, and that's some great news, but the supply just isn't keeping up with demand. We had another strong week for pendings as well. There were 919 single-family homes that went under agreement this week. Now, it's safe to say that the spring market, it came a little early this year, and we can all thank the lack of snow for that one. What is interesting is that we're still 19.8% behind last year's sales numbers when 1,146 houses went under agreement. And I know what you're thinking. That's a lot, but it's the trend that I'm actually looking at. That is the first time, and I can't even begin to remember how long, where we've actually seen the less sales on a week-over-week basis be below that 20% number. I'm a little dumbfounded, if you will. But let's do the quick old comparison. New inventory was down 23.5% compared to the same time last year, while sales were down only 19.8%. That is a delta of 3.7%, and that's after last week's 3.3%. With data like this, it's easy to predict that this is going to be a tough spring market for homebuyers. And there was some pretty impressive news with the March sales data from the single-family market and some really crazy developments in the multifamily market. So be on the lookout for that video that comes out on Saturday. There were 688 houses that closed last week for an average sales price of $748,000 and a median sales price of $588,000. Months of inventory. This is how we determine what type of market that we're in. 0 to 5 months is considered a seller's market. With the closer to 0 that you get, the more aggressive of a seller's market it is. Now, this week, months of inventory jumped to 1.6 months compared to last week's 1.44 months, and this is thanks to the increasing inventory rates. Now, this continues to indicate that it is a very strong seller's market. Now, onto the condo market. We have 2,026 condos on the market as of Monday. Now, the inventory moved up by another 80 units and is now nearly 13% higher than it was just 28 days ago. The inventory gap between this year and last year shrunk to 231 units from last week's 243 units. It's crazy to think that after all the negative news and all the bad talk about real estate, There are only 231 more condos on the market today than the same time last year in the state of Massachusetts. There are 544 condos that came on the market this week. This was a great jump from last week's 468 units and well above the 4-week rolling average of 449 units. But all that being said, it was still 19.1% behind last year's numbers when 672 units came on the market. We had 421 condos go under agreement this week. This was actually a dip from last week's 437 condos that went under agreement. I was really surprised by this because the 4-week rolling average is 388 condos. So the 421 units, it's still great. However, we fell a whopping 31.4% off of last year's numbers when 614 condos went under agreement. So this means that new listings were down by 19% versus under agreements being down by 31% compared to the same week last year. This could possibly spell some good things for buyers in the condo market. Possibly, but I'm not really holding my breath on that one. There were 392 condos that sold this week for an average sales price of $778,000 and a median sales price of $550,000. Then that months of inventory, it ticked up to 2.35 months from last week's 2.15 months. Do you like hearing about what's going on in the Massachusetts real estate market? Then I appreciate you hitting that like button, as it makes a huge difference to those YouTube gods, and well, subscribing, that one doesn't hurt either. Here's some good news. In the last week, interest rates actually ticked down a bit and are now fairly close to the 2-month lows, right as we're headed into the spring market. There is really no economic news that should be able to move interest rates this week, but next week is a different story. On Wednesday the 12th, we have the Consumer Price Index, which will be a market mover. Be prepared for that one. Enjoy what should be the peace and tranquility of this week, because God only knows what's going to happen next week. Remember how I talked about the next shoe to drop in that last week's video, and that shoe being commercial real estate market? Check out these two recent events that happened in the LA market. The Union Bank Plaza sold for between $105 to $110 million. It last sold for $208 million back in 2010. That's a 50% loss. Then there's the Brookfield, who is the largest landlord in LA, and they defaulted on $754 million in loans in 2 LA office towers. You're going to see more of this because here's the problem with commercial real estate. Occupancy falls, square foot rental price falls, rent rolls, then they fall, then building value falls, which leads to the lender seeking more equity to restore the 50% loan to value ratio. The equity company then runs the numbers and, well, decides it's best to walk away. And then OPEC decided to throw a kink in the world economy. And so what does OPEC and oil have to do with real estate? It's actually a really great question. Now, the Fed was just starting to feel like inflation, it might be starting to get a little under control. They were starting to get the feeling that maybe they were in a position that they could stop increasing rates, maybe just hold tight for a little while. Energy. It's one of the biggest drivers of inflation, and this means that the organization that controls the world's pricing in energy has decided to restrict energy supply in the world to boost prices. Higher prices mean more pressure on prices and thereby inflation. Oh, and higher energy prices means higher gas prices, which will make it so the American consumer spends less, which will result in more layoffs, kind of like this one. McDonald's just announced layoffs. McDonald's has stepped into the layoff ring. I mean, it's only going to get worse. Get ready. And now onto the luxury home of the week, which is located at 142 Beacon Street in the Back Bay. This is a 3,908 square foot, 4-bedroom, 4-unit, full and 2 half-bath condo that is located on the sunny side, which is also the water side of Beacon Street. This place is spectacular. It all starts with that direct elevator access unit that has 2 garage parking spaces and 2 private roof decks with city and water views. It is a gorgeous 3-level property that boasts high-end finishes throughout. Now, the enormous skylights in the family room just stop my scrolling finger in its tracks. Just wow. The family room also has a terrace connected to it, which sports Charles River views. In the chef's kitchen, you're going to find Wolf and Sub-Zero appliances, 2 sinks, 2 islands, and marble countertops. The formal dining room has commanding city views, as well as a wet bar and a large balcony. The master bedroom sports spacious walk-in closets and a marble bathroom with steam shower. 3 more great-sized bedrooms and full baths, plus 3 gas fireplaces, and a laundry room that I refuse to show my wife a picture of. This stunning condo is being marketed with an asking price of $10,900,000. Want to talk about your personal real estate needs? All of my contact information, it's in the description below. You can also reach me at YouTubeRealEstateAgent.com. Fill out your information, and then I'm going to reach out to you. Whichever way works best and is easiest for you. I personally love to talk about real estate. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home in the next 9 or 90 days, then I would love to chat with you and find out a little bit more about your real estate goals. Questions or comments about any of this market data, then throw them in the comments section below. You take the time to watch the video, so I'm always going to take the time to answer your questions. And as I always say, an informed person, well, they're a powerful person. So until next time.